Hey guys, welcome to BP the Bible Perspective. Let's discuss 4 reasons church members cover and hide pastors' sins. Now, before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. This is a follow-up or part 2 to the first video I did, 3 reasons why pastors cover and hide their sins. You're looking at a fraction of famous pastors, past and present, covering a wide range of theological platforms. But they all have in common that they have fallen into scandal. And in falling into scandal, they have all went through great lengths to hide or cover their sin. Okay, so we dealt with that. What I want to talk about is now church members, those who follow ministers like this. Why do they turn a blind eye? Cover their ears, la 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 la, or pretend that they don't see. Why do church members? Because let's face it, they wouldn't be successful without the members who follow them blindly in some cases, and sadly in some cases not blindly. They go in with eyes wide open. Okay. And so, I want to just kind of just discuss 4 reasons why, and you will see hope, denial, ambition, shame, okay? Shame. Excuse me. And of course, these are not, I'm not in any way saying that these make up the totality of all of the reasons, but just to kind of, for discussion purposes, why, as a church member. Now, I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian for 43 years, and I could tell you some of my reasons. I've been involved in several churches. I can tell you my reasons. Some of them shameful. Some of them, you could say, ignorant. But there are, again, undeniable reasons why we do follow these men. Now, some of these, when you look at some of these ministers here, and as you can see right here, large churches, large gathering, large followings. Okay, the reason why I got Martin Luther King up in that too, because remember there were those who were are willing to put, that even though there were people, I would say the vast majority of people did not know about his infidelities. Even if they had have known about them, just like those in close circles who did know, we probably would have overlooked it for the sake of the ministry, the preservation of the movement. Okay, but a lot of these churches you see here are just huge churches where people follow them, and then of course the question is why. Why do they follow these? Notice this: huge, large ministries, and for different reasons. Like you see here, I just showed you Martin Luther King. There was a civil rights movement. Why people would have turned a blind eye to his infidelities. Now you see the other picture over here, Billy Graham. And even though Billy Graham himself was never touched by scandals that we know of, a lot of the people, notice this, gathered, what he sort of was guilty of in the early days of his ministry was tolerating racism. Now, the gentlemen along the bottom, or even worse, they were racist. John MacArthur In my opinion, still he is. But we talked about some of his stuff. But all of these men right here, you could see that they have huge followings. Now, Pat Robertson, I'm not going to put him in the racist camp. He had a large television network system. And he just does some silly stuff that people blindly follow him. You know, as you like there, that's actually television screenshot. And he'll sometimes look in there and he'll say, well, God is telling me so many people are healed. Well, why do people support his ministry? Why do people continually give to his ministry here? Now, churches, of course, come in a wide range. This is the picturesque, you can say, suburban kind of church, right? Picturesque church there. And you can go to a storefront church, like in the heart of the hood, the inner city, right? A country kind of church setting. And then this is interesting enough, I just kind of threw this in because this is actually a storefront in a well-to-do suburb. Now they are really fighting against that. But then you have ministries like this. This is Ernest Angley, the late Ernest Angley. He was a fake healer. And he had huge crowds. Now, he kind of came out of the 40s and the 50s, the tent revival. I'm going to say this, fake healer, okay? You see this one here, Oral Roberts, in the early days of Oral Roberts' ministry. Of course, you probably know him. He had the university in Tulsa, the Oral Roberts University. I think they still have the famous prayer hands, a big statue, prayer hands. Again, fake ministry of healings right here. The master faker himself, Benny Hinn. Benny Hinn. Big problems with Benny Hinn because what you see with this picture here, let me kind of go back for a moment and show you now. Let's kind of discuss as we go on. Why do people follow these ministries? I'm going to showcase a couple of them in a minute. Why do they follow? Well, hope. Okay, hope. They have hope in the message. That's why they follow them. Hope in the message. She has hope she's going to be healed. Okay. Here's another one. If you're a part, that's not the one I want to look at. Where you at, Creflo? No. I'm going to come back to him. Where's here he is. Creflo. Okay. Hope. He preaches a prosperity message. People have hope that they're going to have that. That's his, I think, a picture of his actual Learjet that you paid for. The minute people follow that, and his Bentley. So he actually had that. I think he has a couple of them, as a matter of fact. But the first thing is people follow people like Creflo and people like Benny Hinn and people like Creflo Dollar. Kenneth Copeland. Hope in their message. The second reason is denial. Now let's go back to here. Denial. Now here is this lady. You can tell she's gravely ill, but I can also tell you there are plenty of people who follow ministries like this, Benny Hinn in particular, who are on their deathbed. I've known several people personally who have went to meetings like this, hoping to get healed. Hoping. They hope, first of all. And then, of course, there's the denial when he lays hands on them and they still have the cancer in their body. The people that I've known in every case, just 2 to 3 days later, they died of cancer. Okay? Died of cancer. So why do people go? Look at that spectacle there. Empty wheelchairs. Where are the people? Where are the people who actually sit in those wheelchairs? And then there's a story behind these people who actually sit in the chair. Did they actually have cancer, or how bad is their illness? This is, again, to me, beyond belief. It's evil. As I told you before, I know several people who this picture here is an actual crusade that he had. I think he's older now, so you don't have too much of him. But if you look up in the top left, right is the empty wheelchair. But that woman in the bed, the reason why I got suspect of this particular lady here is that that's a hospital bed. I don't know if they would wheel her into a hospital bed. However, it is certainly possible. Now, I've known people who have been in grave situations. They will use their wheelchair. A lot of effort to transport somebody who's that grave, who's that close to death. And so, yes, there are people that would wheel people in there. I don't believe that is real, but there are people who will certainly do that because they have great hope. And then, of course, there are people like who are in denial. That do you really believe you're going to get healed if you do that? Do you really believe? Here's another picture of Benny Hinn in his famous shows that he put on. Now, what you see there is that supposedly he is waving his hand and the power of God is knocking people down on the ground. Now, here's my thing, though. If you're going to wave your hand and get knocked on the ground, take this lady right here. I would much rather get healed. In other words, if you're going to manifest power, why would you knock me down? Right? If you're going to manifest power, why would you knock me down? Why not heal me? I would much rather get healed, get the cancer out, get my body healed, get whatever ailment I have cured. Use that power to cure. You don't need to knock me down. But that's fake. Okay? That's fake. So hope and denial. We deny. In other words, you look at this picture here and you see all these people here, that's denial. If you're watching there, you're actually thinking, well, those people got knocked out by the power of God. You're denying what you see because they really don't. The people that's actually laying there are in denial. Okay? Then let's take a look at this picture here. This is Kenneth Copeland. His message is also besides healing, but prosperity. That's his jet. I've kind of shown you Creflo Dollar. All right. So now, why did people follow them? Hope. Okay. They have hope in their message. That's the innocent stage of it. When I became a Christian, I was saved under the ministry of a Word of Faith ministry. Now, Creflo Dollar, actually his mentor is Kenneth Copeland. Now, Kenneth Copeland was one of the architects of the Word of Faith movement, Faith and Prosperity, along with John Osteen, Fred Price, Charles Capps, and I mentioned somebody. John Osteen, Charles Capps, John Osteen, Kenneth Copeland. Those are the kind of main, and Fred Price, Kenneth Hagin, that's what I was mentioning. Those were the main architects of it. Kenneth Copeland himself is reported to be worth about $800 million. Creflo Dollar probably around 30 to 40 million, which is, in other words, if their ministry shut down right now, he still would be fine, right? What is disturbing about the ministries? Now, let me go back to this because again, these are sort of the steps you kind of go through, or these are not necessarily steps, but so the first thing is hope. You are inspired by the ministry. They know how to teach. They know how to present, and so you are dazzled by them. So hope. But then you're going to find out, guess what? They're not producing what they claim. You see these guys here, every one of them, right? All of this, not one single healing. Not one single healing. Not one single healing. That's not the real power of God. They're the only ones who are getting rich. Now understand that they're the only ones that's getting rich. Now Creflo, after 30 some years of teaching tithing and prosperity, he renounced his tithing principles. Well, wait a minute. If you come to light on that what you were teaching about tithing is wrong, certainly you should have came to light about your entire prosperity message. More on that later. Well, I'll say this now, because what is amazing to me is that out of all of these guys here, not one of them, if I'm them doing this, I'm doing this, if I'm them doing this, if I'm true, wouldn't I say, and I would, how come, if I'm claiming to be a healer, how come these people are not getting healed? Why do I gotta have fake wheelchair? Huh? If I really believe that God's power was coming out of my hands, how come she's not getting healed? How come she's not? You go all the way back to these guys right here. Now, these guys are just shysters. To me, they're evil. But so why am I following them? Hope, and then denial. I deny what I see here. I deny. I can be in the service and see that I can see that he's going through all of this laying hands on her, and she walked out of that service exactly the same way. This was a show. Where are the people at who actually sat in these wheelchairs at the show? And the fact that he would do that, that's a whole other story. But why am I following it? Because I have hope, and then I deny. Well, then you have ambition. Well, let me before I do the ambition, let me do the shame. Sometimes we can feel ashamed that I'm following such a false teacher and false teachings. Shame. But then also ambition. Ambition. If you're in Creflo's church, you want to be a part of that church. You want to grow in that ministry. You want to be a part. So therefore, you're certainly not going to criticize. You're not going to question, at least openly, because you will be ostracized. Those who say, you have been preaching this prosperity message, and you're the only one that's getting the jet plane and the Bentley and the mansions and the Rolex watch and whatever other opulence. You're the only one. See, that ambition, I hope for that ambition. I wanted to grow in these churches. And when I found out, and I think God's mercy sheltered me from that. And not because of anything smart that I did, but that's why a lot of times we keep ourselves in these kind of ministry. Just denial. This hope, denial, ambition, and shame. There's other stuff. I think there's also, when I say ambition, I want to throw in my own evil ambition. That I want to. I'm attempting to use these ministries. You see these pastors come around these churches. They attempt to use these ministers to build their platform. I could have an innocent ambition. I want to grow in this ministry. The problem is that, do you really want to be in this kind of ministry? Do you really want to follow these? Some people do. And you can say they sell their souls to it, because then you deny, and in some cases you lie, that what you're hearing, what you're seeing, right before your eyes, you deny that. And that's the shame of a lot of this. That is kind of the shame, where a lot of why we follow these men. This is why they also are successful, because we do all these things. We're going to constantly give in hope of us one day being prosperous. We deny when it doesn't show up. Sometimes our ambition motivates, so we certainly won't speak up. And sometimes we just are kind of, even with ourselves, just too ashamed to say, you know what? How could I have been so stupid? How can I have been so foolish to follow this? Can you imagine? After 30 years, here's Creflo Dollar says, what I've been teaching you on tithing is wrong. Did not the question come up? Wait a minute, 30 years? So the tithing I've been giving you for 30 years, the way you taught that was wrong? All right, guys, that's my perspective. Don't forget to share and like these videos and this video. Subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. If you have any thoughts or comment, add it to the comment section. All comments are welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.